Society. I wouldn't be yeah, we'll talk about that later. So, any other questions? Let's see. I want to do something next, but I kind of want to go the way you all want to go. I got one. This was a problem that one of your classmates brought. Yeah. Okay. I wonder if, you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to just force a curve in here to brighten it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you see those kind of whitish areas around her? Up there, like it looks like white smudges. That's all over the print. This is a black and white print that's having what some people call a salt and pepper effect. This is what happens when the silver that's in the print, when it was printed in the darkroom, that's fixed by the fixer, starts to become unfixed and start to come up to the top within the emulsion of the print. So what you're seeing was buried in it for many years and is now coming up. It's like silver dust. And you can look around it at the print, but when your scanner hits it, it flashes it. It reflects the light bulb from the scanner. Okay? So you can try, to clone it out and do all kinds of stuff, but it's real bad, especially in the dark areas. I mean, look at that. This is just really, really rough. And one great solution, if you have a good camera and and you're patient, a decent camera, is shoot a copy shot. Make a copy shot of it with your digital camera. Because then what you can do, you can turn the camera at an angle so that the silver is not reflecting the light. Now, if you hit it with a flash, it's just like scanning it, okay? So you got to pull the flash off. Like I think she's got. Look at the flash that you have on your camera. You could take, show it. Come on, don't be shy. See that flash? You can take it off camera, and she's got a nice little soft box to diffuse the light. And if you put it off to the side, you got the copy photo here, and you shoot, it'll light up the picture, but it won't light the silver won't reflect back into the camera. Okay? And then you could also, if that still doesn't work, you could still shoot at different angles, and then when you're in Photoshop, you can manipulate the image to make it fit, to make it straight again. All kinds of things you can do. You could still fix it in here.
How do you fix it?
Well, one solution, one thing that I would do is I had to turn off that layer just so I could look at it on my screen. I duplicate the background layer. That's always the first thing I do, okay, when I'm working on a picture. And if you're familiar with layers, this is something, if you're not doing, you should start doing tonight. Because it allows you to work on that layer and turn it off, turn it on, and then you can go back and in case you make a mistake, bring it back. And you don't have to worry about the history, multiple undos, how far back can I go before I can't undo my mistakes. So there's two ways. The beginner approach would be to use what I would call the burn tool. And that functions on pretty much the same principle as the darkroom, when you would burn and dodge a print. And you get the burn tool, and you get a soft brush. Let me brighten that back up again. Let's say, hold on, let me just, Actually, I was hoping this would look worse when I scanned it, and it didn't. But let's just work in here. So, yeah, that's not even. So let me do my overall color correction. And then we'll get the burn tool. That way I can bring the contrast back. So let me reset. And get rid of that. I'll go to the red channel. Now this is a black and white, but it is a sepia. Let me get that out there. And I bring in levels it would be the same thing. How many use levels to correct color? How many use curves to correct color? Okay, so we're about half and half. So what's nice about this in CS4, I think, or CS3 and above, they would put the histogram inside the curves box, which is the same one that's in levels. And you bring the shadow triangle and the white highlight triangle to the edges of the histogram for each channel. And I did the green, now I'm going to do the blue. Right there. So we have, it looks so bad up there on screen. I'm sorry, but you know what I'll do? I'll put another one up there. Believe me, it doesn't really look like this. But let me put another one on top just to brighten it for you. Good, so you can see the light areas. So I get the dodge tool. Now I get the dodge tool. Burn tool. And instinctively, if we were in the dark room, we would think, okay, if I'm gonna burn things in the range up here for this particular tool, I should choose highlights. I'm sorry, I should choose shadows. It's been a while since I used this tool, pardon me. I'm mixing myself up. I usually use the history brush. So we'd say burn highlights, but actually you burn shadows in Photoshop. And then you bring your exposure way down to about 6. And in CS4 and above, they have something called protect tones. Leave it checked. Just a nice little option in there. I haven't really noticed much, but I don't use the tool very much. But this is a nice little beginner's tool. And actually what I'm showing you is not beginner stuff. So it's a beginner's, we'll call it a nice intermediate tool. And we'll just burn in a little bit here. Let's see how that shows. Yeah, it's kind of rough, but I'm working, trying to do it so you can see it up there. It looks horrible on screen here. And that will get in some of that. Now another way, you know what I'd like to do is I would like to jump into these channels here. Just to check what kind of detail we have in there. It's nothing. Nothing important. Now that's one way to do it. The other way is what I like to do with the history brush. Is a history brush works on previous states of history. So what's that? There's something called the history palette. And the history palette is here. Let me close this thing here. Elements, right? This is not an Elements. This is a Photoshop thing right here. I'm sorry. Elements does have an undo history palette, but it doesn't have a history palette that you can use with the history brush. All right, so I'll undo this, and I make what's called a new snapshot, and I tell Photoshop, remember this image at this particular state right here. And it says, okay. And I click a box right next to it to tell it to remember, this is going to be my source now for my history brush. So I grab the history brush, which looks like a paintbrush, over here, and I choose multiply. That will darken